person you're trying to reach is not available. Your call has been forwarded to voicemail.
Yo.
Hello?
Hello.
It's now...
Oh my god, it's 8:35. I'm getting on.
It's 8:39.
8:39. I'm hopping on.
Okay. 5, 4... Yeah! Welcome to Stoppage Time with IPJ, my man, John Buckets IPJ! All right. Let's get to the God's honest truth here, John Bucketsheimer. I love my intros. I love being that personality that brings energy. I love being that guy who just fires everybody up, who wants to make their plays, who wants to be those special bettors out there. But you know what's really important to me?
What's that?
Being on fucking time, John Bucketsheimer. Being on time. I am part German. You do understand that. Being on time is important. Explain yourself, John Bucketsheimer.
I have absolutely no idea. No, I'm kidding. Yes, I woke up about 30 seconds ago. We were supposed to start filming at 8:30 here on Monday because we want to say the day when you're watching this show in case you're watching on a different day. I got a phone call at 8:45 from IPJ saying, Buckets, where the fuck are you? I am here now. I am a little bit late. I was taking care of some business last night and it got me a little bit distracted. Ian, I did forget to set the alarm. So I apologize to you. I apologize to producer Jeff. I apologize to the loyal listeners, but I'm here now and I'm ready to roll.
Are we allowed to ask any further questions about the evening that you had last night?
I wish it was a big, fun, sexy evening, but the person who usually makes my evenings fun and sexy is sick. So it was more helping take care of this person rather than the actual good times we usually have.
Okay, shall we say gute Besserung, get well soon to whoever this partner may be. Buckets, how are you, buddy, man? Let's just check in on you first and foremost, because it's not like you to be a little bit late for an episode of Stoppage Time. It's not like you to be late for anything. You are also like part German, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Eimer, that's German. Germans are always on time, and on time is being early, and you were late today. So tell me about your life right now, Buckets.
So I pulled an MLS start time rather than my usual German Bundesliga start time today. I said 8:30 and I showed up somewhere between 8:40 and 8:50 and said that's good enough. But besides that, man, I'm doing well. We finally got Champions League footy starting up. Bayern Munich finally looked like they actually wanted to play football again for the first time in what feels like 8 or 9 months. So I'm doing well all around. Are you doing okay, though? Got to check on you as well.
Well, listen, I woke up very early this morning because I knew my boy Buckets and producer Jeff and Hot Cocoa were going to be expecting me to bring my A performance. I even put a special shirt on for you, Buckets, getting ready for today's show because today is the return of the fucking Champions League. Before we get there, we've been very active on our social media platforms. Hot Cocoa doing great things on TikTok and Instagram Reels. Make sure you go follow us across all of our platforms, including X, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Any other platforms, Buckets, I'm missing out?
No, I don't think we've started the OnlyFans yet. Jeff did give a good argument for it the other day, but nothing yet.
Apparently, after last night, we might be starting an OnlyFans page. All right, on today's show, we got a Champions League special for everybody. It's a very, very heavy betting, so we better shut the fuck up and get into it. But before we do get into their Buckets, I want to bring some breaking news to you. You ready for this?
Let's do it.
Inter Miami and Hot Cocoa hit their best bet once again this past weekend. So guess what? Lionel Messi came back and played a game for Inter Miami for the first time in 105 days, if I'm not mistaken. I just wanted to show you this post here. This is for anybody who's going to play against Inter Miami. This is the post that Miami put out hours before kickoff. If that doesn't scare the fuck out of you, I have no idea what the hell that's going to do. I can only put myself back as a former player. And I'm on social medias and I'm looking on, trying to get myself up for the game, looking at some messages. Good luck, Ian. Let's get for the game. And you see that thing staring back at you? That would scare the absolute shit out of me. Lionel Messi came back and boy, did he play well. He is an absolute killer in this photo. Well done to Inter Miami social medias for posting that. But let me tell you something, Buckets. Lionel Messi looked 100% fit. Lionel Messi looked lean. He looked like he lost weight. He looked like he had spent like a whole month just training, getting ready for the end of the playoffs and Major League Soccer, because he looks like he is absolutely ferociously ready to rock and roll. Got a couple of goals in the game, as did Luis Suarez. And of course, Hot Cocoa hit that bet. But here's some of the bets that I put out there on the Dub Club buckets. Check this out. Messi anytime goal scorer, it's decent. It's okay. So I bet that line's going to move soon. Messi first or last, obviously not great, but Messi 2+ goals, plus 360. Unbelievable. Lionel Messi getting it done. Buckets, your thoughts?
Yeah, he looked very fit, and he played an entire 90 plus 8 minutes as well. So his first match back, he was ready to roll. And I think, Ian, a couple things here. First of all, congrats to Hot Cocoa. Congrats to you on the Dub Club success as well there. But I want to call out our producer, Jeff, who told me, Buckets, there is no way that Miami is going to be good enough to win MLS, the MLS, whatever you want to call it. He said Columbus Crew is the team he is backing. Man, Jeff is crazy. Miami is going to run over absolutely everyone they face in MLS right now. As long as Messi can stay fit, this team is winning everything this season. That's all I'm saying.
Poor choice of words, John Bucketsheimer.
Oh, for which one?
Do you know who's next for Inter Miami?
Oh, is it Crew?
No, actually, they play Atlanta on Wednesday, which, of course, if you're watching the show on Wednesday or after Wednesday, they play Atlanta. But on the weekend, do you know who's next?
NYCFC.
Yankee Stadium awaits Lionel Messi and Inter Miami. Before I get there, though, and obviously talk about how fact that I'm pretty scared about that game, I will tell you that the line moved drastically with Lionel Messi's inclusion in the squad. Hot Cocoa picked this line out when it was plus 110. Of course, she was on Inter Miami money line, over 2.5 total goals, 1.5 total goals it was, and it was plus 110, and it moved to minus 150 with the announcement that Lionel Messi was in the starting lineup. So, of course, I got a little bit creative on the old Dub Club as well, and I said, listen, Hot Cocoa's bet moved drastically, so why don't you go and do over 2.5 total goals for the team? And that's obviously what hit, and that was still in plus numbers. It was plus 100. But it's just telling you, it's hard sometimes with Messi in the lineup to find those great values. You've got to take some risk buckets. Even with Messi in the lineup, you still got to take those risks.
You got to take those risks. But luckily for you, and luckily for Hot Cocoa, and luckily for Miami, even without Messi playing, I know he played and obviously did a lot, they've looked like a pretty good squad in recent months. But this is just a good reminder to everyone now. He's back. He's looking fit. He's playing full matches. The lines are going to move aggressively. Even though we know he's going to start now, as soon as you see lineups come out, lineups still move. The lines still move. So bet on teams like Miami before that announcement comes out an hour before.
Yeah, if you're watching an episode of Stoppage Time, don't waste any time. Get your bet on there. And that's the benefit to watching the episode of Stoppage Time. We are very active on our social medias. We repost the link. We also post the clips itself on social media for everybody out there to see. We've probably got, 25,000 views on this episode or clips of our show throughout social media platforms. So don't wait. If you see a bet and it's a good number, jump on it quickly if you really like it, if you feel confident about doing it, because that's what can happen. The line moved from plus 110 to minus 150. Inter Miami, just for the record, have scored 65 goals in 28 regular season games. Doesn't bode well for NYCFC, who have scored 41 in 28 and conceded 37 in 28. Yankee Stadium awaits Lionel Messi, and I can only imagine he's going to want to play well and score goals in a baseball stadium. Look forward to that game, Buckets. Let's move on because we don't have much time, because this is, of course, a Champions League special. We got to go to the group stage, Buckets, and talk about the new format that's taking place. I'll break down some information for you. Under the new format, teams will play 8 matches in the new league phase, former group phase. They will no longer play 3 opponents twice, home and away, but will instead face fixtures against 8 different teams, playing half of those fixtures at home, half of those fixtures away from home. Now, Buckets, the new layout. The top 8 sides in the league will qualify automatically for the round of 16, while the teams finishing between 9th and 24th will compete in a 2-legged knockout phase playoff to secure their path to the last 16 of the competition. Teams that finish 25th or lower will absolutely be eliminated from European competition and will have no access to the Europa League either. So you've got to finish in the top 24 of the Champions League. It is one big group. Top 8 automatically go through. Between 9 and through 24, you have an opportunity of a 2-legged playoff, and anyone under the 24, they will be knocked out of Europe altogether. Buckets, do you want me to go through the fixtures, or should we just have a little chat of the futures first?
I think we should chat about the futures first, because with this new format, there are just so many teams, and I would love to sit here and listen to you list out all 20 or 36 teams competing, right? but I think we need to touch on the futures because we know our viewers love a good future wager.
All right, let's get into it. I want to actually go all the way in here, Buckets, because I want to give so much to our loyal listeners out there. I'm looking for who's going to win it all. I'm looking for who's going to win the group stage. I'm looking for who will be the top goal scorer, the Golden Boot winner. And then I'm also looking for a team who's going to finish bottom, completely last of the group stage, a team that's just going to completely fail. And then we'll get into our best bets for the games that are coming up on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday this week in the Champions League. So if we're looking at the odds as who's going to win it all, Manchester City are the favourites at plus 250. You would expect that to be the case. Real Madrid plus 300, Arsenal plus 800, Liverpool plus 1200, Bayern Munich plus 1200, Barcelona looking good at plus 1400, PSG at plus 1800, and then I'll stop at Inter Milan at plus 1800 as well. Buckets, just out of curiosity, who do you have winning it all this year?
Ian, I'm just going to warn you and all of the lovely loyal listeners now, my bias is going to show through and through across all of these futures because this is the season that the silverware comes back to Bayern Munich. The Bavarian Giants are winning this year. Vincent Kompany's first season spearheading the squad. He's got to be pulling off the plus 1200. So give me Bayern Munich all day on this one. I am going to be very heavy on Munich moving forward this season.
Yeah, Manchester City are still my favourites until I can see a team beat them. Obviously, in the Champions League, it didn't work out for them. Real Madrid got to the final with Borussia Dortmund. And by the way, Borussia Dortmund not even on the list that we're putting up here for being a winner. Sorry, Jeff. But at the same time, Bayern Munich is a good shout because they have a very good group phase. And then also, Real Madrid are not necessarily the best football just yet. They will be there or thereabouts. Barcelona pretty good at plus 1400 under Hansi Flick. They're playing some good football. But Manchester City, to me, best team in Europe, best squad in Europe, strongest squad in Europe, deepest squad in Europe. Very difficult to beat that, especially with this new format. You're going to have to be absolutely on your game in the group phase, and you're going to have to be on your game in the knockout phase as well. Nobody wants to play against Manchester City. So I'm going for City in the safe bet, plus 250. Buckets is going for Bayern Munich. Now, who's going to win that group stage, Buckets? Just to make it easy for you, I'm saying Bayern Munich as well because their fixtures actually look very sexy indeed. Manchester City plus 300, Real Madrid plus 500, Arsenal plus 650, Bayern Munich plus 800. Where are you going?
This makes it very easy because I'm also on Bayern Munich again at plus 800 because, Ian, as we know with Bayern Munich, they absolutely dominate in the group stage. If you look at their last 40 Champions League's group stage matches, 0 losses in those 40 games, 36 wins, 4 draws. This is a team that takes the group stage very seriously, even though sometimes after the group stage they tend to struggle. Plus 800 is a beautiful line too, considering how relatively easy their group is. Outside of Barcelona, there's not too much we got to worry about Bayern Munich right now.
Yeah, listen, I'm just going to read out the fixtures for you with Bayern Munich as well. These are in no particular order. PSG at home, Barcelona away, Benfica at home, Shakhtar away, Dinamo at home, Feyenoord away, Bratislava at home, Villa away for Bayern Munich. My opinion, it's very doable that Bayern gets not maximum points, but almost maximum points from that list there. There are some big games, understandably so. I mean, even the home games you've got, PSG at home, Barca away, Hansi Flick game. I mean, those are difficult games against Lewandowski away from home. Difficult games. But Bayern and the form that they're in, Vincent Kompany getting back to business, Harry Kane, I'm with you. I think the group stage is going to be a surprise winner. So I'm going for Bayern Munich as well to lift the group stage trophy. Is there a trophy? That'll be interesting. Plus 800 for Bayern to win. Top goal scorer is going to be very interesting because here's the deal with the Champions League buckets. You are going to see the group stage be very important for goals because it's now a format of wins, draws, and losses. And it's one big league, and you're playing against multiple opponents, not the same opponent. You've got home games, away games. What comes into play here are goals. Yep. If you have the same points as multiple teams that are in the table, higher goal difference is going to give you credit. So therefore, goals come into play. And that's why this is a very important factor to discuss. Where are you going?
So this one's a little bit frustrating for me. I will tell everyone right now that I am sprinkling Harry Kane at plus 600 because, as Ian mentioned, goal differential is going to mean a whole lot to these clubs, which means the all-stars need to really show up, and we might not see the rotation we usually see when a side like Manchester City has won their first 3 or 4 group stage matches. So I do like Kane at plus 600, but come on. Erling Haaland plus 300. I know it's maybe not the sexiest line for everyone, but at plus 300, I absolutely have to play that considering they're going to be playing teams like Sparta Praha. They're going to be playing teams like Feyenoord. They're going to be playing teams that they can run up the score list or the scores against a little bit. City has a pretty easy schedule, a couple tough teams in there still like PSG, but when they play Club Brugge, Erling Haaland might score 4 goals alone. So at plus 300, and considering Man City's probably going to make a very deep run in this competition, I love Haaland in that look.
Yeah, Haaland at plus 300. Kylian Mbappe is obviously another good one. PSG have a very difficult schedule, though. That's where it comes into consideration. Buckets, can I throw out you an absolute long shot?
No, absolutely.
Currently sitting, if I can find him, all the way down the bottom there. My God, I can't even see where he is. Currently sitting at plus 5,000, Victor Gyökeres at plus 5,000. And here's my reasoning why. And a shout out to Andrew Pissarro, good friend of mine. He does a lot of sports betting as well on TikTok. Go find him on TikTok. All the loyal listeners out there, we'll get him on the show at some point. Obviously, a very important piece of the Galazzo Network puzzle as well. Upcoming matches for Sporting Lisbon. They play against Lille at home. They're away to PSV. They're away to Sturm Graz. They've got Manchester City at home. They've got Arsenal at home. Brugge away. Leipzig away, and Bologna at home. So to say that he couldn't score in the teens would be crazy. I think those games, that fixture list, Gyökeres is someone who has a real opportunity, even though they're not going to win it, even though I know that Sporting Lisbon are going to be a difficult team to compete against, and they're not going to be that team that's making it all the way to the final or doing anything like that. I still think that Gyökeres can be the guy that leads them to glory. He is someone who has scored 8 goals already this season from 5 matches. And in his short time, he's only been at Sporting for a year and a half now, Buckets. 56 games, 51 goals he has scored. And he has 100 million euro price tag on his head. This is the greatest club competition in the world. The greatest players need to step up. Your thoughts?
My thoughts are I love that, and this will not be the last time we're talking about Victor Gyökeres here on the show today when we get to some of my best bets later. But I absolutely love what he's doing. He is terrorizing the Portuguese Premier League, and he's got a pretty badass celebration too. I'm a big fan of the fingers clasp over the face here. I think it's a great shout at plus 5,000.
Listen, Bucket, stop doing what you were doing in bed an hour ago, okay? Just keep it quiet, all right? We don't want to know about your private life and your personal life. Let's move on. All right, here's about the losers in the Champions League. Of course, there's going to be a lot of teams that miss out desperately in the Champions League. Who do you think is going to finish bottom of the table and why?
I think it's going to be one of 2 teams. The first team I think it's going to be is SK Slovan Bratislava. I believe they're plus 400. They are the favorites to finish last year. And frankly, the Slovakian teams are one of the clubs that are like just kind of excited to be here with the new format. This is a team that is not ready for the top level of competition. They have an absolutely brutal schedule when you're looking at some of the teams they have to go against. They open with, is it Man City? No, they open with Celtic first, followed by Manchester City. They also got Girona in their group, Dinamo Zagreb, Milan. This is a team that is going to be a punching bag and is going to be a club that a lot of teams use to boost their goal differential. When Atletico Madrid play them on the 6th match day, Atletico Madrid might score 5 or 6 in that game. So it's just a team that's not quite ready for this competition. Outside of that, I kind of like Sturm Graz at plus 750. A little bit of a sneakier pick, but if you look at where the list is right now that Jeff has right up, those 6 bottom teams are all finishing bottom 6. It's just a matter of who's going to struggle the most.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because nobody wants to play against those teams. And if anything, the new format with more games gives these teams an opportunity to spring more than one surprise. So trying to not finish bottom will be important for a lot of these groups. But yeah, you pointed out that the fixtures that's coming up, they're at Glasgow Celtic first and foremost, which is a difficult place to go play. And I expect Celtic to do some damage this year. They've got a good enough squad to do so. You play City at home. You've then got to go to Girona, who like to score 17 goals a game. Then you've got to go and play Dinamo Zagreb at home, which is a very difficult opponent. And I think if you look at them, obviously very close to them, who could be competing for near the bottom of the table, I actually favor Dinamo Zagreb to actually do well in the Champions League this year. Then they're playing Milan at home, which will be very difficult, away to Atleti, which will be difficult. And then they've got Stuttgart at home to finish things off at Bayern Munich, which of course they'll concede 10 to. I do think that this is going to be very, very difficult for a team like that. So there's a reason why they're bottom and a bottom by a mile. Buckets, you ready for us to get straight into the fixtures?
Let's just jump straight into it, man.
All right, let's get hammered into it. On Tuesday, we got games coming up. Juventus against PSV Eindhoven, Young Boys against Villa, Milan against Liverpool, Bayern Munich against Dinamo Zagreb, Real Madrid against Stuttgart, Sporting Lisbon against Lille. On Wednesday's games, we've got Bologna against Shakhtar, Sparta Prague against Salzburg, Celtic against Slovan Bratislava, Club Brugge against Dortmund, Manchester City against Inter Milan, and probably the tie of the round, PSG against Girona to wrap things up. On Thursday, it gets interesting. Feyenoord against Leverkusen, Red Star Belgrade against Benfica, Atalanta against Arsenal, Atletico Madrid against Leipzig, Brest against Sturm Graz, and Monaco against Barcelona. It's unusual to see games taking place on Thursday, but it is time. Everybody, you know it wouldn't be an episode of Stoppage Time if we didn't get you some of the wagers from our betting expert. Yes, that's right, the blonde bombshell, the betting unicorn. That is our guy, John Buckets Timer. Welcome back, Buckets. We're about once again to hit the fucking big time. Buckets, I want multiple bets from you. I'm looking at 2 best bets for Tuesday, 2 best bets for Wednesday, 2 best bets for Thursday, and I don't want you to hide from anything. I want you to go all out explosive for the loyal listeners out there because the Champions League back. We begin with your bet number 1 for the list of Tuesday's games.
My bet number 1 and my bet number 2 for the Tuesday fixtures both come from the exact same match, Ian. I am all over this match between Sporting and Lille because Sporting are going to absolutely eviscerate this Lille side. The same Lille side that just lost to Saint Etienne and cost me a bet last week, but also the same Lille side that defensively is just not there this season. Conceded and lost to Saint Etienne, could not score on the road. They lost to PSG 3-1. They lost to Slavia Praha 2-1 on the road. This Lille side on the road is a team that you do not want to back ever. Meanwhile, Sporting Lisbon are one of those teams that does not play to win. They play to embarrass their opponents. They have played 5 matches in the Portuguese Premier League this season. They have scored 19 goals and conceded 2. This is a team that if they're up 2-0 at halftime, their coach is not saying good job. He's saying, why the hell did we not get 3 or 4? They do not slow down. And with Victor Gyökeres and with Pedro Goncalves, they don't have to slow down here. I'm taking Sporting over 1.5 team total at minus 125 because I would have played this all the way up to minus 200, and I might actually ladder Sporting goals in this one. But the 1.5 team total at minus 125 is ridiculous, and Victor Gyökeres anytime goal scorer at plus 110 is ridiculous. Ian has already mentioned how good he's been this season and how good he was last season, but he will score at will. He will score from anywhere, and he is taking the ball from the spot, and this Lille side is going to get sloppy defensively, and I wouldn't be shocked for a moment if Sporting got a PK in this match as well, Ian.
So that right there is both of your plays in one game.
Yep.
Now, why are you leaning so heavy on Sporting Lisbon in particular? Is it because Gyökeres or what?
It's just because they've been such a good team all season long, and because, frankly, we've already cashed on them multiple times on the show, and when they're playing at home and when Lille is at the road, it's just my favorite team at home versus a team that I do not trust when traveling right now. This is the same Sporting side that beat Porto 2-0 earlier this season. They've just looked tremendous right now, and I think it's early enough in the season that they've still got some of their spark and kind of their kick, and they've just looked so good, Ian. I've got no problem playing 2 units on the same match.
All right, let's look at the season so far for both of these clubs. Sporting Lisbon currently sitting top of their table domestically. They've won 5 games. They've drawn 0 games. They've lost 0 games. Goals per match on average, 3.8 goals per game. Conceded goals per match, 0.4. They've had 3 clean sheets, which is absolutely incredible. And then, of course, their biggest win was a 6-1 victory domestically this season so far. On the opposition side, Lille come into the game in 8th place domestically. They've won 2. They've lost 2 so far this campaign. As Buckets pointed out already, they lost at home to PSG by 3-1, which was their biggest defeat. Biggest win away from home was a 2-0 victory at Rams. They've had 2 clean sheets. Goals per game, 1.25, which means that they might have an opportunity of getting a goal in this game. They certainly do have some weapons, but they also boast conceding only 1 goal per game, which tells me that they have every opportunity of trying to get themselves a goal in this game. But is a goal going to be enough against the Sporting Lisbon side? Lille right now, the top players, obviously, Aaron Zagrofa has been one that's really caught my attention just because he's a quality player and what he does creativity-wise going forward. He's only got 1 goal from 2 games domestically in the competition. Jonathan David obviously stands out to all of us. 1 goal domestically, but he's certainly someone who can perform very well when it comes to European competition, and he is one who's already scored important goals for them so far this campaign, 3 from 8 appearances. If I'm not mistaken, he got 2 2 in the qualifiers just to even get to this stage. So Lille will be a threat, and they will be a team that you've got to be worried about. They obviously went through after beating Slavia Prague to even get to this stage. But I love what I'm seeing from Sporting. They're a team right now that are scoring goals left, right, and center. Concalves, as you pointed out, there are 4 goals, 3 assists to his name domestically. Gyökeres, 1 assist with 8 goals. And then Trincao, 1 assist with 3 goals. They are a creative team, defensively very solid, midfield very creative. I'm really big on Sporting this year. I'm with you, Buckets. I love this bet. I love the fact that Sporting could be the team that surprised a lot of people in the competition because they've got a red-hot goal scorer with a huge price tag on his head. He needs to play well. And I don't know. Maybe we do see someone spend 100 million on him at some point. Let's go to your best bet, number 1 for Wednesday's games.
Best bet number 1 for Wednesday game is probably a matchup that not a lot of people are focused on. But I'm looking at Italian side Bologna taking on Ukrainian side Shakhtar Donetsk here, Ian. And I'm going with the classic of both teams to score at -110. This Bologna side looked so good last season. Now we're 4 games into the Serie A table, and they have not won a game yet. They conceded against Udinese, 3 against Napoli, 1 against Empoli, and 2 against newly promoted side Como. Bologna just hasn't looked good enough this season. However, they are still heavy favorites to win their opening Champions League match at home. To do that, they will have to beat a Shakhtar Donetsk side that has a weird amount of Champions League experience. This is one of those teams that always seems to find their way into big European competitions and always looks pretty good in the Ukrainian Premier League, and always scores so many goals. 5 matches played so far in domestic play, and Shakhtar Donetsk has scored 14 goals while conceding 7. A very standard Shakhtar scoreline there, as they do concede a lot. Ian, I think this one has a lot of goals in it. I think Bologna will be looking to get that key first win of the season, and I think they probably do by scoring 2 or 3 goals here. But Shakhtar, knowing they're going to be the underdog in pretty much every one of their matches, are going to play very free, very open, and very flowing footy. And they're going to be going for goals. Even if they lose this 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, you can bet your ass that Shakhtar is going to be getting that 1 goal in this matchup.
Yeah, Bologna's been pretty interesting. Obviously, when you lose your boss, Thiago Motta disappears and goes to Juventus, Bologna get into the Champions League. It's a tremendous achievement. Vincenzo Italiano's taken over this team, and he's trying to find victories. They're not easy to beat. So to Bucket's point of view, both teams to score is a really good look here. 3 of the last 4 games that they've competed in, it has struck. It's been 1-1 against Udinese, who could go top of the table tonight on Monday as we record this, if they get a victory. And they lost 3-0 away to Napoli, which was a bit of an embarrassing game. And then, of course, they had 1-1 against Empoli, 2-2 against Como. So these are lower teams in the table you would expect. Shakhtar pose a different threat. And even though Shakhtar haven't necessarily got themselves off to a great start, they're currently sitting in mid-table, I think. They're sitting 6th in the table domestically, 3 victories from 5 games. And as Buckets already pointed out, 14 goals scored from 5 games, 7 goals against from 5 games means that we should expect goals in this game. I don't think Bologna can go with the tactical approach of, we're not going to concede the goals here, we're going to try and get a point. No, points are not good enough here now. Teams need to go for victories. Also, watch out for this, Buckets. Teams away from home, like Shakhtar, against teams like Bologna, they're going for victory. They're not going for points. Points mean nothing anymore. Now you got to go for victory. So I love that bet. Where are you going for your second bet?
Well, I hope you love the second bet as much as you did the first, because I'm going to Scotland, baby. And I'm going to that opening match between Glasgow Celtic and Slovan Bratislava. But I've got a weird one for everyone, but I'll start by giving a lean. I think Celtic score 3 goals here. I think Celtic score in both halves. I think there's a lot of fun ways you can play it. But Ian, something caught my eye here, and I want your feedback on this. I'm looking at an anytime goal score that is currently priced at +450. So a bit of a long shot here, but Colin McGregor, anytime goal score, +450 right now. He is currently leading the team with 3 goals scored in 5 starts, which is as many goals as he had last season. He had 3 goals in his 11 starts, I believe, here. But Colin McGregor just signed a new 5-year contract with the Celtic squad, and he's looked so good. And Celtic is kind of a hard team to bet on because they have so many good goal scorers. They have Furuhashi, they have Liam Scholes, they have Alistair Johnston. This is a team that has a lot of good attacking talent. But right now, Colin McGregor's the one that's catching my eye. He's looked really good. He's played 90 minutes in all 5 of the matches. He's getting that big start up top in the midfield. And right now at +450, Ian, bit of a long shot, bit of a crazy one. Again, look at team totals if you want a safer bet here. But in a match where I think Celtic's going to score probably 3 goals, I got to take a sprinkle at this +450.
Wow, never thought you'd go there, but love it. He's a leading goal scorer right now for Celtic with the 3 goals, as you pointed out there. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he scored one against Rangers in the Derby game, so he steps up in big games, big occasions to get goals. He's an outstanding player, obviously someone who steps up and really he takes that leadership role very seriously. Outstanding player, 471 games for Celtic, 67 goals to his name, which is an incredible achievement. 3 goals in 63 appearances for Scotland as well. Listen, Celtic are on fire right now, and I will say this, they are very, very dominating. 14 goals scored from the 5 games. They've won all 5 games. 0 goals against for Celtic so far. Defensively, they're getting better. Much more solid approach from Brendan Rodgers' side. I do think that they've really improved with Carter Vickers and Scales building up a partnership. Johnston on the right-hand side getting forward. Taylor on the left-hand side getting forward. And they're supported by McGregor, who's obviously scoring goals going forward, but defensively, incredibly strong along that back line as well. I want Celtic to do well. Obviously, I want to see Scottish football thrive in European competition, and Scottish football desperately needs to have an opponent in the Champions League try to get through to at least the knockout stages. Is it possible to say that Celtic can go and maybe get to the knockout stages in the top 8? Probably not, but they've certainly got some good games to look forward to. They play, obviously, at home to Slovan Bratislava, their first away game. Producer Jeff, it's at the Yellow Wall against Borussia Dortmund. That will be an incredible game for all of us supporters to watch because obviously the affiliation, former captain Paul Lambert, who won the Champions League way back in the day for Borussia Dortmund, went and left and played for Celtic and became a hero there as well. They go to Atalanta. Then they play Leipzig at home. We've seen that tie before. Then they play Brugge at home before they travel to Dinamo Zagreb. And then, of course, they've got Young Boys at home and then finish off at Aston Villa. Celtic can get points in that group. And if you look at the group format and how it was all structured, there's easiest to most difficult. Celtic were voted the easiest group of games in the Champions League. So they should do well. But then again, the history doesn't tell us that. So let's see how Celtic perform. Love the bet buckets. It's a long shot. Everybody out there bet responsibly, but why not? I'm going to have a pipe at that one as well. Let's go to Thursday's games buckets in your first best bet. There's an interesting few games here.
There's definitely some interesting games here. And for this bet, I finally have a match including a Bundesliga side, one of the 5 Bundesliga sides that are in the Champions League here. But Jeff, don't worry. I'm not going against your yellow wall. I'm not going against my Bayern Munich. I will, however, bet against RB Leipzig. Right now, as they go to take on Atletico Madrid on Thursday, I just don't think they have enough to stop Atletico Madrid from scoring twice. Atletico Madrid over 1.5 team total, priced at -135. It's a little bit of juice, but I just have not been impressed with Leipzig yet. They have a very talented side. Ian, we talked about them on our future show as one of the biggest threats in the Bundesliga because they just have so much talent. But when you have so much talent, you got to do better than drawing 0-0 to Union Berlin. You got to do better than beating Bochum 1-0 in that opening match. You have to look better, and you can't be conceding goals to these poor clubs because when you play a team like Atletico Madrid that is finding their form, that is beating Girona 3-0, that is beating Valencia 3-0, that is so scary when they play at home, you have to be on the top of your game. And right now, I don't think Leipzig is there yet. They might get there, but they could use a couple more weeks to find their form. And Atletico Madrid will be licking their chops, I think is the phrase, smacking their lips, something like I did last night. They're going to be looking very, very scary right now as they take on Leipzig. I think this will be a big win for Atletico Madrid at home, and I think it'll be a statement win. It'll be a reminder to the rest of the teams in this group, this massive group of 36 teams, that they are the big dogs and they are a team to be scared of. I think they get at least 2 goals here, maybe Leipzig score, but I don't really care if they do or not. Give me that Madrid team total.
Yeah, Atletico Madrid after their victory at the weekend, 3 games, 1 from 5, 2 drawn, 0 losses, 9 goals scored, only 2 against. Only Real Madrid in La Liga have as good a defense as Atletico Madrid right now, so they're not conceding and they are scoring goals, even though I think there's more to come from this Atletico Madrid side. So I do agree with you, they can get a couple of goals in this game. Currently looking at the season so far, Leipzig, as you pointed out, they're still sitting 3rd in the Bundesliga, 1-2 drawn 1. They have also not lost. I'm going to throw that out there, buckets. Average of 1.33 goals per game scored, an average of 0.67 goals conceded, 2 clean sheets on the season so far. Compared to the 4 clean sheets that Atletico Madrid have in La Liga, They're just not conceding many goals, 0.4 average per match, and scoring to help Buckets out here, 1.8 goals per game going forward. And they're still not necessarily firing on all cylinders, Atletico Madrid. If you think of the game this past weekend, Griezmann got a goal. Obviously, Julian Alvarez came off the bench and he got a goal, his first ever goal for Atleti. Having him is going to really help in the Champions League as well. Conor Gallagher got his first Atletico Madrid goal. Sorloth can do better. I mean, offensively, all the weapons are there for Atleti to make a run in the Champions League this year and really do far. No one's speaking about them doing well because here's their fixtures: against Leipzig at home, away to Benfica, at home to Lille, and then they've got to go to PSG, they've got to go to Sparta Prague, they play Slovan Bratislava at home, and then Leverkusen at home before wrapping up in Salzburg. Difficult, but still a group that you would say Atletico have a chance of sneaking into that top 8, I believe. Your thoughts?
I'm with you. I'm all about Madrid this season. I want to see Julian Alvarez succeed. I know he's been having a bit of a slow start here, but they're a team you're going to want to keep an eye on to maybe disrupt more than people might imagine this season.
All right, what else you got?
Last bet for this beautiful first Champions League slate is going to be a bit of a weird one because it's two teams that not a lot of people think are going to do anything, but I don't need them to do anything, Ian. I just need them both to score to hit the Buckets Classic. Stade Brestois versus Sturm Graz. We've got France versus Austria here. Two teams that probably aren't expected to really do anything, but if you look at their group schedule, these are two teams that if they want to win, they kind of need to win in their first 3 matches before the whole group stage goes to hell right now. Stade Brest has looked not great this season. A bit of a tough start as they picked up only a single win in their 4 opening matches, 6 goals scored, 10 conceded. Meanwhile, Sturm Graz are having an incredible start to their Austrian Bundesliga season, sitting top of the table with 4 wins in 5 matches, 10 goals scored, 2 really strong teams-ish in their leagues here. But right now, Ian, when I'm looking at this match, there's no way to bet anything other than goals. Brest have 3 easier games. They play Sturm Graz, they play RB Salzburg, then they play Leverkusen and Sparta Praha. So out of those 4 games, they have 3 maybe chances to get points before they get smacked by Barcelona, before they get smacked by PSV, before they get smacked by Real Madrid. So they're going to want to start their Champions League campaign off quickly and as easily as they can here. Sturm Graz kind of doing the same thing, taking Brest and then Club Brugge before they've got Sporting, before they've got Dortmund, before they got Girona. So both of these teams will probably end up being punching bags later on in Champions League, but get that big 3 points, get that big first win if you can, and both teams will be doing anything they can to start off with a win here. Both teams to score being priced at minus 115 is incredible value, considering it probably should be closer to minus 150 with how badly these teams are going to want to score in their first match day.
Yeah, I love it. Obviously, these 2 teams, we don't really know what to expect from it, especially being the underdogs in the competition. Brest having an amazing season in Ligue 1 last season. Sturm Graz off to a great start already this campaign, sitting top of their domestic table. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they've won 5 games on the bounce, including cup competition as well. So Sturm Graz will be some team coming in with confidence. And these will be the games that Sturm Graz, teams like that, will think that they have an opportunity of getting something from. Love the bet, Buckets. I mean, that's pretty much it from us for this episode of Stoppage Time. We could have given 50 bets out. It honestly is that dangerous. I want to tell everybody out there, please bet responsibly. But if you're looking to make some money, this is the competition to make money in. The Champions League is now favorable to us who love placing a wager. To everybody out there, you've got to be smart. You've got to bet responsible. Don't think that there's much of a home field advantage. Away teams have got to try and win games now because there's no, we'll get them when they come to our place. That no longer exists. You play that team once. So now you've got 8 different opponents or 7 different opponents. It's incredible to think that you have all of those games to really get after. But this is a new format that favors sport bettors out there. And I want to tell everybody to bet responsibly. But fuck, if there's a place to go have some fun, Buckets, is this competition now.
It's absolutely this competition. Considering we're going to have over 100 Champions League matches over this competition, and a lot of these matches are going to change kind of their value as we move forward and we see what teams need to win, you're going to find some sneakily good lines here. And IPJ and I will help you find those. But be careful, bet responsibly. You don't have to bet on every single match. Me and Ian might. That's all I'm going to say. But have fun with this, guys, because these are the best of the best of the best teams in the world playing, and some not so best teams. But there's a lot of money to be had here if you're smart.
Yeah, really looking forward to this one, Buckets. Great job as always picking out those classics. Great job being late for today's show. We really appreciate you actually turning up full stop. At the same time, I hope you had a great night last night. Certainly looks like that from the smile on your face. For everybody out there, the loyal listeners, we will be dropping this episode on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday on X, formerly known as Twitter as well. Producer Jeff going to be working some fucking magic for all the loyal listeners out there. We don't care where the views come from. We don't care. Me and Buckets have made a plea that we want to have this show for free for our loyal listeners, and it will remain free for our loyal listeners for as long as we possibly can. So we're going to put it out on as many platforms so we can get as many eyeballs on the show as possible. The only thing we ask from you is that you like and you share the show. We want comments from you. Make sure you subscribe to the show. We need your support to be able to grow Stoppage Time. I hear all the comments. I see all the comments. Give us merch. Give us this. Give us that. It's coming. But we need that support to get bigger and better so we can grow the show to actually eventually be able to have some merch to share with you. So it's up to you, the loyal listener, to be able to share the show as much as you possibly can. And there's no better time to do it. It's the Champions League. It's back, baby. You can watch all the games and all the pre-game and post-game action on Paramount Plus and CBS Sports Galazzo Network. Buckets, I will be all over it. You'll be doing some stuff on the early edge as well when it comes to Champions League.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll see me on the early edge a lot. 10 a.m. on YouTube on the Sportsline YouTube channel. I will be all over the Champions League with additional plays every single day moving forward. So, I mean, we can't get enough of this content, Ian. It's going to be everywhere.
5 p.m. Eastern every single afternoon after the Champions League. Come join me and whoever I'll be working with on Galazzo Network. We'll be covering all the Champions League games, goals, storylines, getting some interviews and making sure that we show all the highlights of all the goals. I'll be doing tactical analysis, breaking down plays in the big studio. Now, my show. Can't wait, Buckets. I love Scoreline. But to everybody out there, make sure you have a great week. Enjoy the Champions League. Bet responsibly. And just like me and Buckets going to do in the Champions League this week, make sure you absolutely have it!
Stoppage time.